Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. I hope you're all doing well. It's Sunday evening. We called it the week of truth, and it has been a week of truth. We have more answers than we had before starting the week. A week post Derby d'Italia. That's how Juve playing two games, one against Galatasaray, first leg, and a decisive, crucial game against Como yesterday. We have more clarity about this Juve. A Juve that is with one step and a half out of the Champions League. Only a miracle would put Juve back into game. A miracle that today is impossible to imagine after the state of Juve that we saw yesterday. We were exposed to the entire world about the state that we are in mentally and physically. And then Serie A that saw all the results going into all the results. We are speaking about an Atalanta that is now at -1 with an extraordinary run of Palladino since he took over at match day 12. A Como that is not stopping, that is pushing, that is surprising a lot of people. They are still there. And the Roma that is trashing Cremonese 3-0 without having been at danger at all. So we know a lot. We know a lot more. Can you confirm me, guys, that you see and you hear me live? Because I'm not sure about that. I see some people saying G just late. I see some people saying it takes so long. I am live. I'm speaking with you. So please tell me if you see and hear me. Okay, all good. I was scared. An intro with a improvisation intro, and nobody's able to hear it. And you know that if you have to do it again when you start all over, it's a total disaster. Why this live? Because ultimately we focused on pre-game, watch-along, and post-game, and then we went live. We go live every Thursday with our friends from Turin Giants. But it was to speak with you. It was to speak with you after the difficult, really, really difficult moment that we are in. Usually, when we are in this kind of moments, you have two things that you can do. Or you do a bit like l'autruche. I don't know how you call that animal in English. L'autruche. The animal that is putting the head into the ground. L'autruche. No idea. So if you can help me, guys. The animal, long neck, head into the ground, and that is hiding the ostrich. Oh, more or less the same name, no? So, or you do the ostrich. What a strange name, ostrich. Or you do the ostrich, or you face the reality. I don't have a lot of positive things to tell you, honestly. I just want to stay with you to speak a bit about it. L'ostrica in Italiano, indeed. L'ostrica in Italiano, l'autruche in French, and ostrich in English. What a channel. I'm proud about that. I'm proud about having opened it. You see, we are with, we just started. Now we just started the live, but we are with 200 people following the live. That will of following Juve, unfortunately, on the 22nd of February is gone. A bit of a lot of people. That's a bit what I'm the most sad about, because that anger, that frustration, the disappointment is gone a bit. Then you face the reality, you're back to hurt. Bravo, struzzo in Italian. But what makes me really sad is that for now, I don't know how many seasons in a row, we arrive in February before March. Anyway, before March, and Juventini, correctly, I understand them, they want to turn the page. They want to think about something else. They don't want to speak about about Juve anymore. They don't want to watch the games anymore. They turn the channel. They don't have that will of Juve, of their daily doses of Juve. And that makes me really sad. Really, 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 really sad. It's a real big pity, honestly. And understandable, understandable, but a huge big pity to see Juventini that are giving up in February with an entire March to play, an entire April to play, and an entire May to play. And I know that in May we will be back. In May we will be back in not speaking about the field anymore, but speaking about mercato. Mercato, if it's possible to do. So let's stay together and speak with Roberto immediately with a super donation. Roberto didn't give up, or I think. He's writing, I will be at the Olimpico to watch Roma Juve live in the stadium. My question, Beppe, is what effect do you think there will be missing top 4? First of all, this is also in my bucket list. To be one day in l'Olimpico to watch a game of Roma, not Lazio, because Lazio, they have difficulties to fill the stadium. But I would love to be at l'Olimpico one day because it's not a beautiful stadium in terms of innovation, modernity. There is that Olympic run piste. You're far from everything. It's not really a beautiful thing, but it's impressive. It's huge. And especially, I must say that Roma, I don't envy anything about Roma, but I already said it, so it's not a secret. The chant of Roma before a game is really, really beautiful. Really, really beautiful. It's goosebumps. Goosebumps. Because the entire stadium is singing all along. So that's also in my bucket list. So congratulations, Roberto. I don't know how Juve will arrive at that game. If we go with the last 2 games, we will not arrive in a good state. There is Galatasaray in the middle. You can do 3 things after Galatasaray. Or you can go out of Galatasaray with a qualification, miracle qualification, and this team start to believe in miracles, and you have that electroshock, because that's a huge, big electroshock. An electroshock where you say, we can do what nobody is expecting from us. And you go towards a beautiful end of the season where you can recuperate points, where you even enter the top 4. That's one effect. The second thing is that you play with your best team against Galatasaray and you win, but you are eliminated. And you arrive to the game of l'Olimpico with a huge, big disappointment, with regrets. And this team that is already mentally on the ground, plus regrets, that's not a beautiful combo, I tell you. Or third, you play against Galatasaray, and even there, you lose against the Turkish team. And there, on top of being angry, on top of having regrets, you even have all your certainties that you have built until the game against Inter that are gone. So I don't expect Juve to do a miracle. I don't expect Juve to qualify to Galatasaray. I think that Juve will arrive on their knees against Roma that today won 3-0. Hey, if you lose there, you're at -7 and the top 4 is gone. So this is what I wanted to say to Roberto Gallo. I want to say, please remind me that I need to speak about the Inter effect. Please remind me that I want to say something about the Inter effect. Sam, grandissimo Sam. Adesso ti parlo in italiano, Sam. Now I will speak to Sam in Italian. Why? Because Sam is waking up in the morning and is watching Juventus Mezzogiorno Mercato from noon to 1 p.m. in Italian. And is following it, writing there. It's really nice to see the community that are, jumping from one channel to the other. It's really, really beautiful. Grande Sam, I want to say. The summer is decisive. Dusan, McKennie, Kostic out of contract, plus Milik issues. Boga and Holm that needs to be replaced, not to mention all the outgoing 6-7 players minimum. It's scary. Yeah. It's really scary. It's a beautiful, correct message that you are writing. The summer will be scary because we know already now. Please don't forget about what I'm telling you. And by the way, I saw the message of Il Presidente from Bulgaria, Blago. So, buongiorno, Blago. And also Prat and all the people. I didn't even say hello to all the people in the chat. Now, speaking about that, and please keep it in your mind, we already know that financial fair play restrictions are above our head. I see a lot of people that are a bit confused with the financial fair play and that are asking the management to leave, the ownership to leave, to have new funds that are entering the club to pump money into the club so that we can, qualification in Champions League or no qualification in Champions League, pump in money and thanks to that money make Juventus great again. When I'm telling you that quote, it's not a coincidence why I'm telling you that quote. But there is a bit of confusion with change ownership so that we can pump money. Ownership money doesn't allow you to do mercato. This has to be really clear. If you're loving Juve or whatever other club in Europe, UEFA club, ownership cannot pump money in to do mercato. That's important to know. They can put a limited amount of money to balance the books, yes. Capital increase is helping to balance the books, to avoid cash flow and losses, but not to do transfer market. So capital increase never helps transfer market. But of course, if you are losing money, your loans, your debts becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. So the money that you are actually earning, the revenues, you are obliged to pump them into your losses. So capital increase is helping to avoid losses so that with your revenue you can do transfer market, okay? But you cannot pump 1 billion, for example, that will be dedicated to mercato. Where can that money come from to do mercato is player trading, important, ticket sales, merchandising sales, extra events, the salary cost, so players trading is also salary cost. This is how you balance and where you go up in terms of revenues. You need to pay attention to what you're spending and what you are entering. So Juventus is already under the really close observation of UEFA because we made a deal with them, a settlement agreement with them to be, because you always have 3 years of observation to be a kind of break even if what we spent and what we earn. And we are under observation, which means that the next one will be already difficult. If we are reading the comment of some, Dusan, McKennie, Kostic are all out of contract, which means that you need to replace these players physically. Milik was not counted this season, so it's a non-problem, to be honest. Boga and Holm will go back without hesitation. Boga could possibly stay at Juve because, in a way, it's a bargain. Then, of course, we need to monitor the physical condition and how much he can play because he's not a ready-to-play player at the moment, which, for example, Malen is, after his EPL experience going to Roma, plug and play and plug and deliver. Holm is not that because it's a few seasons that is a a bit behind with international high-level football. And then on top of that, we need to change a lot of players. Perin, today we hear about Perin that could leave this summer. It would already have gone in the winter if some agreements were found. We didn't found them, or at least we didn't had the power to go for a number 2 goalkeeper. Maybe we will even try to bring back Dafara, which didn't happen at the end, so we stayed as we are. But yeah, he will leave, and Di Gregorio is a problem today. So there are a lot, not even mentioning all the other players that we could possibly have back. Douglas Luiz, Nico Gonzalez. Koopmeiners is a huge big problem. Openda will be a problem. So for the people that are expecting a huge big transformation of Juve in terms of we sell and we upgrade with bigger names, bigger star, forget about it. What can possibly happen is that you are going on the free transfer market to upgrade a bit, and that you have a bit of luck in finding B players in terms of paper, but that these B players are able to have an immediate impact on Juve and transforming Juve. Now, Juve will, at today, because today we need to look at the ranking of Serie A. Ranking of Serie A is saying that we are at -4 from Roma, -4 from Napoli, that with goal difference finished now 4th. So we are at 4, and we could possibly be at -7. So Juve is at the moment out of Champions League. We are at +1 over Como, +1 over Atalanta. We are even at risk of failing in qualifying in any European competition for the very first time since... I have no idea since when. Since 2009, 2010. The first time that we don't qualify on the field for a European competition was 2009, 2010, which means 17 years ago. 17 years ago for the very first time. One time they took us away some points so that we didn't qualify, but it will be a huge, big disaster. Then, is it the end of the world? No, it's not the end of the world, because qualifying to Champions League is good because it's planned to do so. Juventus, when they are forecasting their finances, they are always planning the qualification of Champions League. If you don't, is it the end of the world? In a way, yes. In a way, no. In a way, no. Only if you're able to do the right moves. Because in the latest years, Juve always qualified to Champions League. The problem was not qualifying or not qualifying. The problem was that with the limited budget that we had, because it has always been a limited budget, even when we have spent 200 million, it's a 200 million that is virtual because you are spreading it over multiple years, and on top of that, you have to sell a lot of players to have some profits, young players, other players. So even if you spend a lot, the problem of Juve has been that in the last 3 years of transfer market, we didn't sign a valid player. We have been lucky with Kalulu. That is a player that was not your A choice, it was not your B choice, it was your C choice. That is, at today, probably of the last 3 years, the only player that we guessed right. No? Help me, guys. And then I will read Westerman, Katana, and Mohamed Youssef. Help me, guys. Who were the players in the last 3 years? That we have spent money on and that are performing. Kalulu, maybe Kelly, because at the end it's 20 million euro. If you're looking at 20 million euro, no, less, 17, something like that. But 17 million euro for a player that delivered. Is he the GOAT of the defense? Is he the leader that can play alone in defense? No. But it's not that we went and signed, I don't know, prime Van Dijk, prime Chiellini. That's not what we did. No, Bremer was before. But Boga, you cannot say Boga. Because Boga is a player that played 3 or 4 mini appearances where, guys, if you are looking at minutes, he didn't cross the 200 minutes. So you cannot say that this is a deal that is working at today. In the future, let's see what will happen. Locatelli is before that. Locatelli is 4 or 5 years. 4 years. Maximum 4 years. Not less than that. I don't agree with Thuram yet at today. We saw with Thuram in big difficulties in the beginning of the season with Thiago Motta. He didn't play. A lot of people frustrated about Thiago Motta. And then he did a part of the season where we saw the Thuram that we signed finally. This season, except of 5 games, I didn't see the level of Thuram that we saw in a few games after the Thiago Motta period. We didn't see him anymore. Not with Tudor, not with Spalletti. So Thuram will have to step up. I already told you about my disappointment of the performances of Thuram at a certain moment until Thuram started to show a few games where he said, okay, he's back, finally, he's here. But also him, from the moment that we started to play twice a week, the physical condition doesn't allow him to play. So also now, the last few games. So to me, Kalulu, possibly Kelly, is kind of performing. That's it. That's it. Out of memory. And the other name that you're telling me, it's like, but how many players did we sign? Douglas Luiz, Nico Gonzalez, Koopmanners. These are the ones in fresh memory, but Weah in and out, and never met the expectations at Juve. How many players did we sign in and out? So bad, bad, really, really bad. Douglas Luiz apparently this weekend played a really great game. People are starting to say he's back where he had to be. Alberto Costa, to me, was... I never regretted Alberto Costa. Maybe tomorrow he will become the new prime Roberto Carlos or Cafu, maybe, but in his time at Juve, that was not really long. It's not that he impressed me a lot. Openda, but even Jonathan David, he was a free transfer, but at the end, let's see, we had a discussion. Jegrova, Chico Conceição is not a good signing at the end. He was a player that last year was showing that he had some margin to grow, but he was not bad. But he was not the best player on earth, but not bad. We invested a lot of money on him to make him permanent. And it's not working. Westerman, thank you, my friend. Yesterday was my first time, after my 24 years of being a fan of Juve, when I by myself turned off a Juve game after the first half. You see, that was what I was saying in the beginning of the video. Unfortunately, we arrive again at the point of the season in February, not in March, in February, where we are saying arrivederci. Arrivederci to il campionato, and people that are starting to really be fed up. Same as me, they are taking me the will. No, it's not the will. It's not the will, because I always want to. But they are taking me the joy of doing things, because you're thinking twice of the content that you want to do. I was thinking to do a game, The Millionaire, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. There are some shorts that I want to do. I wanted to start, with comparison. Starting 11 from Juve against starting 11 of the next opponent. I wanted to do something funny there that might or could have been viral after a few ones, but no, they are taking me away that joy. So it's people that are turning their television off. Thank you for the message, Westerman. But it's also for me, the content that you want to do. You know, like I told you, I have that FIFA card that I still didn't really checked and opened, because I want to do something fun. But at the moment, everything fun that you want to do, it will be turned in ridicule. Then you have, of course, you have big content creators that are not linked to one club, and they don't have that affection for one club. They have fun, they go to games that the team is losing badly, and they do content, and they are happy, and they smile, and they don't care whatever the result is. They don't understand the moment of fans of putting things online, because they don't care. I really care. I feel bad like you guys. When Juve is doing bad, I really feel bad. But let's stop speaking about Beppe, speak about people in the chat. And I also want to answer this message later. So I will pin it so that I can answer later on that one. Katana, 33 months on the member. The only way you can pump money is via sponsors. Yeah. Sponsors, but you need to pay attention, because they cannot be fictive sponsors. So you cannot, for example, ask, I don't know, a sponsor, I don't know, I'm just saying, Lavazza, that is based in Torino, that is not our sponsor anymore, but was, let's make a 3 million euro sponsorship. I'm just inventing numbers. I have no idea. For me, 3 million is big. Maybe it's not big for a sponsor, but you cannot ask them to do fictive sponsorship, because you need to pay attention that it's between some boundaries, and the attractivity of your attractiveness of your club, the mercato that you are in. Where can you also increase your revenues? It's with broadcast revenues. And that's something that I totally forgot to mention. Broadcast revenues. And we know that in Italy, the broadcast revenues are extremely low. But you saw it, Italian Serie A 2 years ago was not available in UK. You had to follow it on an app, One Football. I know that they had a lot of problems to sell it in France, for example, where you have millions of people from Italian origin that are following Serie A. So it's extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult for broadcasted revenue. So, and you see, in UK, the biggest part of the cake, the biggest share of the pie comes from the broadcast revenue. So it's big. Exor companies could sponsor. Well, in a way, they are already doing it with Jeep. We are already doing it, but you cannot fictively sponsor. You need to pay attention, because Paris Saint-Germain with Al Khelaifi, and Seferin, they can do with Emirates and whatever, with what is it, Qatar or Visit Qatar, I don't know what it is, but they can do. They are allowed to do things that Juve cannot do, because you pay attention, guys. That's something that we don't speak too much about. But Juve, as soon as they are doing something, we receive our slap in our face, or they take us away 15 points, or they send us in second division. So it's problematic. It's extremely problematic. I see Ryan is saying also we need to dump Adidas and find some replacement. Adidas is doing a great deal with Juve, and luckily, I'm saying luckily, we renewed with Adidas for multiple years, because in the state that Juve is at the moment, continuing to sign with a world sponsorship of sport like Adidas, they could have dropped us. We are considered for Adidas in their legend pie of clubs, where they are dedicating something special. If you know a bit what is going on in sponsorship, etc., etc., I would not spit on Adidas. Sponsorship, money, and also what they are doing in terms of extra activities. Then that you like a shirt, or that you don't like a shirt, that you like a shirt or you don't like a shirt, what I told you, extra revenue makes you actually giving you the availability, the possibility to go and spend more on the transfer market. So a fourth shirt that you like or you don't like is extra revenue. Important. There are a lot of comments that I need to answer, so I was not expecting it. I was expecting a chill evening, but Juventini are there, so show me that you are there, guys. Where are you from? Tell me the country that you are from. I want to read you. Where are the Juventini of the world connecting to follow the live? And I want to answer a lot of questions. It's a chill, calm, tranquillo live where I have no specific topic speaking about Mercato. It's just illusion powder, so I don't want to lie to you. I wanna read you. I wanna speak with you guys. I saw today a lot of live from a lot of creators, and they are speaking between themselves. It's not only Juve. I'm speaking about the entire world, where they are speaking between themselves, and they don't give a lot of attention to the chat. And you know why I'm always a lot of time alone where I'm doing lives is to speak with the community. I'm sometimes sad when I see creators that are speaking for like 1 hour, 2 hours in a row, and they don't give attention to the chat. So, no, we do it for you. So that's why I want to read a maximum of you. So where are people coming from? From Poland, Dominique. Lebanon from Arthur. Albania, Sergio. Sweden, we have Canada for Joey. Bulgaria, Ivan Todorov. La France, Magica Juve, France. Germany, Albania, Belgium for Mr. Stefano. Montreal, Canada. Hest Obdenberg for Anto in Belgium, living in Manchester, Germany, Hungary, USA, Austria, Germany, Mexico, Malta, Germany, Armenia, Macedonia for Masterpiece MK, India for Aman Kumar, Ciao Juventini from Toronto for Bianconero, Switzerland is in the place as well with Luz Werner, Malta, Sweden from Nini Baranto, Henk in Belgium from Christian Canizzaro, New York, Germany, Houston, Texas, Macedonia, Romania, Canada, Morocco for Zach, Turkey. We have a lot of Turkish people. You know that in the month of February, the 5th country that watched the content of the channel is from Turkey. Not a coincidence, not a coincidence after the big loss against Galatasaray in Istanbul, Czechia. I'm trying to see. Cuba, Alejandro, Cuba. Amsterdam, Brooklyn, Antwerp, but we have a lot of people from Belgium. You know, guys, that I'm living in Belgium. You know that, right? No, I don't watch rugby. I have no idea about other sports. I tell you the truth. So, Mohamed Youssef is writing, Beppe, one thing that I can see. In the team to have numbers of 30 plus players in their team, with my dislike of Inter Marotta, but it's something essential. Our Mercato, we miss this element. First, I was thinking about the numbers on the shirt over 30. You know that for me, from the moment that you cross the numbers in terms of the amount of players that you have in your team, I don't like it. So if you have 25 players, to me, you should go from number 1 to number 25. If you have 27 players, you go from number 1 to number 27. From the moment that you go over, it's fantasy. So let's go back to the basics of football, where the name and the number is not that important, but it's the player that is wearing it. It's the shirt that you are wearing that is important. But that's not what Mohamed was saying. Mohamed was speaking about 30 plus years. So that experience. And I agree with that. Youth is great, and there was that phenomenon at a certain moment of Juventini, that thought that we had to play with players from 17 years old, that only players that were under 22 could play at Juve, because when you were already 22, you started to be already old. When you were 25, you were already going towards retirement, which was folia. You remember, guys, huh? You remember that period? It's not that long time ago. I believe it's like 1 year or 2 years ago, where people they went totally crazy with that out of proportion. Only youth can save Juve. Rejuvenation. And when we were speaking about that rejuvenation, which we did massively, by the way, People went totally crazy when we were speaking about a player that was 26. 26 was already old. But it's like everything in life. If we are speaking about the hit of Inter Marotta or whatever, they have an old team. They have the oldest team in Italy, if I'm not wrong. And if they were lacking in the new generation because they were going towards a limit, they have been extremely smart this year in inserting players like Pio Esposito, Boni, Diouf, Sukic. I'm trying to think if they did with more players, not that I know, or by heart, to already prepare the next generation. If Thuram leaves, you already have your young player that has 1 or 2 years of experience behind the back. If Mkhitaryan goes in pension, retirement, or if he wants to move to another league, you already have your next up to. And that's an intelligent way of doing it. Like Bayern Munich at a certain moment, they had an older generation, but they were already putting some players, not massively, but some players here and there. And Juve went totally crazy with that trend of rejuvenation, exaggerating in taking more than rejuvenation, especially taking leadership and experience out of the team. So, as everything in life, you need balance. You need balance in the amount of experienced player you have, a balance in the Italian players that you have in your team. You need balance in the youth. You need balance in everything. You need balance when you're playing offensive or defensive football. I really believe in balance in everything because extremes, I'm not a person of extremes. I never speak about religion, politics, but I think that when you go towards too much to one side, that it's that side or that side, it's dangerous. It can be dangerous because then it's fanatism, and that's never good. When you cross the line, it's never really good. But it's like this in everything, I believe. That it's your passion, that it's whatever. More you go to the limits of one or the other side, more difficult it is. And and you're right. Our team biggest problem is you don't have in moment of difficulty like we are here now. Some people that said I've already experienced that. This is how we can get out of it, or don't do this because doing this I already did it and it was a huge big mistake. So I 100% agree with Mohamed. And that's why today we heard names a la Senesi, but especially Bernardo Silva and Franck Kessié. I know that, and also, for example, a name, sorry, a la Celik, that a lot of people are criticizing because he's not the top player, but it is the starter of Roma, which we would take as a sub of Kalulu. I'm not spitting on a starter of Roma that becomes a sub of Kalulu. You understand what I try to explain? So that's why we go with these names. Then I see Mikel that is angry in the chat. Of course, all these discussions correctly. It's illusion powder if you are not able to get up, which looks like we will not be able to get up. Or you have a Modric example, which as a kid was in love of Milan, was a Milanista since kid, and says, I want to go there. By the way, answer me that question, guys. Is he still playing with the Croatian team? Will he go to the World Cup or not? Modric, you know that I don't know if he retired or if he's still playing with Croatia. I don't know. I missed that info. Today I was thinking about it. I totally forgot. Is there someone that knows or not? But you don't know. Nobody knows. He retired. So, he retired. He's still captain. Okay, he's still captain or he retired. Anyway, let's say he was a huge, big fan. I'm not sure. We nobody knows about Modric. But anyway, he is ending his contract with Real Madrid. He said, you know what, I go to Milan. I don't care about whatever competition. You never know. If I'm still in form, I can go back to Croatia for a last World Cup if they qualify. Or maybe playing the World Cup. At least I play one game a week. I don't go over the limit. And then I go to World Cup and I play in the club that I loved as a kid. So if you have this kind of situation, why not? Why not? You can find some players. But at today, I don't see a free player in love with Juve so much that could come. Holm, for example, if he was free, he would have come to Juve because he announced that he was a Juventino since kid. But you cannot say Holm and Modric in the same sentence. You know what I mean? So we have a problem. I don't see a player at the caliber of Modric that could go to Juve, honestly, for free. So you have a problem. Because if you don't qualify to big competition, you will be out of everything. And also these names, you forget about it. So you will need to find something totally different. Sam, grandissimo Sam. I'm scared that the team has collapsed. 3 wins in the last 10 and 4 defeats in the last 5 games, with 12 league games left, with Milan and Atalanta away. What will happen if we finish 7? Press will be brutal. But the press has always been brutal, that you win or that you lose. I actually prefer when the press is brutal, because usually they are extremely brutal when Juve is doing well. When we are doing bad, they are not that brutal, honestly. It's the tifosi that are extremely brutal when we lose, correctly, but also when we win. Because a few years ago, I remember, because I was already on social media, it was not good enough to win the Scudetti. It's not important to win the Scudetti. We are tired of winning Scudetti. Let's not celebrate. We need to win the Champions League. Otherwise, all the rest that you're winning, Coppa Italia, Supercoppa, Scudetti in a row, that you're able to sign a Cristiano Ronaldo, it was not important. It was not good enough. So, these years of suffering, maybe we deserve it, honestly, as a fan base that has been, I think, raised too well and spoiled too well and not understanding what you had. Social media was not the same as it is now. But it's the reality, guys. It is the reality. What will happen if we finish 7? What will happen that you will have to do sacrifices in your team, and you have to hope, you really have to hope, that you're able to find the right names. And when I'm saying names, it's not the big transfers. We did it, Koopmeiners was one of the best midfielders of Serie A. Douglas Luiz was one of the best midfielders of Premier League. You took some players that were certainties and that didn't perform. So it's not about the name that you are signing, but it's a player that could elevate Juve thanks to his utility on the field. And you cannot miss. That you are in or out, you cannot miss. Qualifying to Champions League and totally missing for 3 years in a row your transfer market sessions is a problem. It's really a problem. Mikel, you know that for me you can say whatever you want, but please, can I ask you to? I know if you are negative and you believe that you're right, and that's all okay, but speak with me. Tell me that I have no idea what I'm speaking about. That's great, but if you start pointing fingers to the chat people, he have zero ball knowledge in this chat because people are thinking different than you, then you're crossing the line, Mikel. I know that you are angry. I know that you have difficulties to manage your emotions. I know that you are telling us since 5 years that that Juve is a disaster, that we will never win. I know it's out of love because you are an old supporter like me and that you have been through a lot, and maybe you're even right. Maybe you're even right. But if you're telling all the people in the chat that they have zero ball knowledge because they want to speak about football, because they have a different opinion, then we cannot have a mature discussion. So if you're telling me Beppe will Comoli be fired this season, and if you tell me I believe it's the right choice, this is a discussion that we can start. For example, if you're saying that people have zero ball knowledge in this chat, then we are not. Tristan, ciao my friend. Ciao my friend. So I promised that I wanted to come back on a message. Thoughts of Igor Tudor coaching Tottenham. But I respect Igor that a few weeks ago, 1 month and a half ago, we saw it decided to stop with Juve to look for another opportunity. I respect that a lot. I told you, I cannot speak too bad about Igor Tudor in terms of the person that he is, what he did for Juve, and we can speak about his coaching abilities, but I respect a lot about Tudor, what he did. I stop, free mind, open for every club. He's coaching in Premier League, where he never have been. He has been in Croatia, in Italy a few times, in France. He didn't do it yet in Premier League. He's there. He has a big challenge. He knows that he's a coach, and he saw it, and we saw it as well. That he's really great at entering, changing a few things, and reaching the target why they hired him. Qualification Champions League, saving a team from relegation. This is something that he's really good at. It depends. And you have coaches that are really great at that. You have coaches that are really great at saving teams from relegations. We spoke about it. You have coaches that are fantastic in second division Serie B and are really a disaster in Serie A, like Pippo Inzaghi, not Simone, but Pippo Inzaghi. You have different kinds of personalities. He's really great at jumping on a train and changing things. Of course, the first game that he's playing is against Arsenal, that are from a total different level today than Tottenham. Tottenham in really huge difficulties. I was watching a bit the game, and then I saw the collapse also in that second half of Tottenham that was expected, to be totally honest. What I was really surprised is when he's speaking, I believe, with Van de Ven, and he's telling him, go up, follow the line. He was pissed off, and he was trying to, to play with the joystick, to tell them what movement, and you saw the player that was not reacting at all. He was not reacted at all. He didn't understand. He didn't know, while Tudor speaks English as well. He didn't. Crazy. So I don't know. Because it's Premier League, because I don't know what they think. If they are that arrogant to not follow their coach, it's over. So I'm really curious about honestly, I don't care. As long as we don't play against them in Champions League, which would be a miracle again. I don't care. Then I have a lot of affection for Igor Tudor as a person, like Colomani as well. But more than that, I don't care. Alessio is writing, Beppe, how do you see our schedule for the next month? Can we get the mentality back to do well against Pisa, Udinese, Sassuolo and Genoa? Hope we can build momentum again and beat Atalanta too. It's a really great question that now I cannot answer you. I'm scared that it could potentially be too late, Alessio. I'm scared that it could be potentially too late. Because if you lose against Roma next weekend, you're at -7. You're really at -7, which is tough. -7 with potentially also not only Roma, but also two other clubs that are ahead of you, Como and Atalanta. Then on paper, can you win against, what are the teams that you mentioned? Pisa, Udinese, Sassuolo, and Genoa. On paper, yeah, you can beat them. Of course, you can beat them and you can start again a momentum. It depends also if we will still be in Champions League or not. At today, at what was it? 87%. We are out. If you are playing once a week, we saw that once a week, the Juve of Spalletti with 9 players, because that's what we are speaking about. 9 players, which Spalletti is trusting to start games once a week. That's the problem. What was the title of today's video? Nightmare Juve, but it can be worse next week. If you're out of Champions League, if you're at -7 and you play against these teams in a row once a week, you can do it. But we saw that also once a week against Sassuolo, Udinese, Cremonese, Pisa, Lecce, Cagliari, you were not even able to win 5-on-5. Udinese no, because it was in Coppa Italia. So the 5 games in Serie A, you were not able to do 5-on-5 because against Cagliari you threw it away. Against Lecce you did well, but you did 1-1. So to me, even at our peak form, even when things were going well with that enthusiasm, we were not able to do a 5-on-5 where if we wanted to dream about possibly fighting for the Scudetto, we had to go with 5-on-5 and 0 mistakes were allowed. And we were not able to do that. In the peak of our form, when other teams, they were not really understanding the movements that we were doing, surprising every week the opponent with something else. If you add on that you could possibly play without the enthusiasm of dreaming about the Scudetto, and maybe not even playing for the top 4, ragazzi miei, it will be extremely difficult. Sincerely. Did I answer well, Alessio? Now I wanted to tell you something else about Inter. There is something that is annoying me extremely a lot. By the way, congratulations to Inter for winning the Scudetto. But there is something that annoys me a lot. To me, Inter has always been a rival my entire life. In the past, the 2 rivals were Milan and Inter. After 2006, on the podium, there is only Inter. But to me, I don't live, and I never lived to beat Inter only. And after beating Inter, having a satisfaction of being full. You understand what I mean? Yeah, the day of beating Inter, it's always something special for me because I really dislike them. But then 1 day later, 2 days later, 1 day later, I'm still happy. Then 2 days later, I don't have the satisfaction anymore. It's gone already. I'm already thinking about the next one. Okay, we have beat them. I'm happy. I'm happy that they didn't win. We won. Great. But now the next game. Because we are Juve and we are far better than Inter in their miserable history. We are far ahead of them. Of course, now we are speaking about a moment of difficulty of Juve and a moment where Inter is doing better objectively. They are stronger objectively. But in my history, we are much stronger than Inter. So Inter is 1 game out of 38. No, 2 games out of 38. You beat them, you're happy, and you move on. You think about the next one. Recently, what I've seen, what I felt, and it's annoying me, is that after playing Inter, every single time, you totally lose your energy. That you win or that you lose. It looks like it's the game where you have gone until the last drop of fuel in your car, and maybe you reach destination, but from the moment that you go out of the car is not driving anymore, which means, yeah, you arrived at destination, but you cannot do any other destination anymore. You understand that metaphor? It's the last drop, and this is something bad. We won against Inter with Igor Tudor, and after that we didn't win a game anymore. Right or wrong? Last year, after the 4-4 against Inter, with Thiago Motta, I believe, it started to be extremely difficult with the draws. It happened also with Colomani assist to Conceição, that after that it was over. I think that the year before as well, winning or losing, the games against Inter are taking you so much energy that is over, and it happened again now. We lost 3-2. We already spoke a lot about it, and I will come back on that because I didn't forget, not the field, but the extra. Now we need to focus on something else, on Galatasaray, on Como, on Roma, but I will not forget and I will come back on it. But after Inter and the injustice and whatever, boom, it's over. This time we didn't even reach the destination because they didn't allow us to reach the destination, but there is no fuel anymore. It's over. And that's something that we need to stop immediately with. You cannot, every time that you are playing Inter, that you win, that you lose, collapsing. That's something that is extremely annoying. Something extremely annoying to me. Now I will read the message of Mohammed, but do you understand what I mean or not? What are the games that we played against? But we should do stats like that. The last, let's take 3-4 years. Every time that we played against Inter, what were the results in the few weeks later? I will not do it now because it would take me too long to do it, and we will lose too much time. But that would be something that we need to calculate a bit. What did we do after in the last 3-4 seasons? What we do the next few games, like 4, 5, maybe 10 games after playing Inter? I would be extremely curious. That's something that is annoying to me. Yeah, it's true. No, Juve. Yeah, of course. Juve was already losing before Inter this season against Atalanta and against Lazio. We drew, I believe. That was before Inter, but Juventus was playing. Juventus was still going. But now we are on our knees. Did you see the difference? After Inter, on our knees against Gala and against Como. Totally on our knees. Yeah, after Inter we collapsed as well. Yeah, with Allegri. I agree. Mohamed, let me read the comment of Mohamed. Just looking for something. Here we go again. Mohamed is saying, historically, Juve had a DNA. Is Juve DNA for you? And is it best to get players that fit the manager or players that fits the club DNA? With manager that fits the club, like Real Madrid? Good question, especially the second one. because the second one I'm extremely prepared on that. To me, you need to find players that are fitting the club first. Then, possibly, if they can fit the coach, it's even better. They should. But first, the club. Why? Because the coach, especially now, unfortunately, we are changing every 6 months. We are changing a coach, so you can go for players like, for example, you sign Arthur for Maurizio Sarri. Sarri goes away, and Arthur is there with Pirlo. That didn't like him at all. Like we signed Rabiot for Allegri 1.0. Allegri goes, and Rabiot is with Sarri. And Rabiot didn't like Sarri. It didn't work. It was a horrible year of Rabiot that first year. And it happened so many times. So a coach, signing a player for a coach, I mean, in partnership with a coach, yes. Except if you go back to the 80s, 90s, 2000, especially in Premier League, where in Premier League you had a coach, he was doing well or he was doing bad, it was the same coach for years. Arsene Wenger, Alex Ferguson, where not only they were coaches on the bench, but on top of that they were managers, which is also changing now. The culture of the almighty manager is gone. But I know that a lot of people here that are following Premier League, they raised like that. They always have that perception that a coach is signing players. Like a lot of time, but Allegri signed that player. No. Allegri didn't sign any player. He can be asked for advice. What are his preferences? But coaches in Italy, when they are asked to do, they give names as examples, but they are more focused on characteristics, and then it's the management that goes for it. So for me, to answer it quickly, players that are fitting the club DNA. One. What I blame Comoli a lot is, and probably also Elkan a lot, is that we go with someone that is doing Mercato the first year alone, without knowledge of Serie A, probably already thinking like, okay, I go with players that I would love Juve to play like that, but without considering that in Italy you cannot have an open da. The pressure that is on Juve, Jonathan David showed that he cannot resist that pressure. It's a huge pressure, guys. Much more than in a lot of leagues. So, to me, yeah, Openda is a top example, I believe, because Openda is not a bad player. Now I know that people are hating Openda correctly for what is not showing at Juve, or for what is showing at Juve. Also, yesterday he had a big chance, and he threw it away. So, players fitting the club is much more important than players that are fitting a coach. Then, for that first question, what is DNA for you? Juve DNA for me, that's easy and difficult to answer with, but to me, Juve DNA is being aware of being hated and not caring about it. It's whatever happens, I will put my soul, I will leave my soul on the field, and then we see what is happening. Is being proud of who you are, what you are. It's understanding that before you, there have been legends at the club that won everything. And after you, at a certain moment in time, there will be legends that will win again. Maybe not in Europe with how football is evolving and changing, but for sure in Italy. We don't know when, but it will happen again. Cycles, unfortunately, they exist in history. And we are in a huge, long negative cycle. So that means understanding that you don't want to be the loser in between that period. Being aware of having a responsibility of representing millions of fans around the world. Being a Juventino is all the quotes that I had the opportunity to read all around La Continassa, written by huge, big legends of the club on and off the field. It's being part of something that is much bigger than you. It's an honor to be there. Yeah, it's a lot of things. Juve DNA. The thing that made me the most angry, but it's a reality, yeah? It's when Spalletti saying after Juve Como, the kids are feeling the weight of the result. The weight, W-E-I-G-H-T. Not the weight, W-A-I-T. Il peso dei risultati, that pressure of being obliged to win. That's, I believe, how can I say, the best thing to describe the moment of Juve. He said, inside the players' heads, there are too many pressures for results. These are the words. I will put them also in the chat so that you can read them. So the words are these. Inside the players' heads, there are too many pressures for results. This is the analysis of Spalletti after 4 months of Juve. But Juve DNA is exactly this. I mean, to answer your question short, Mohamed, it's this. I made a lot of examples, but probably it's this. Juve DNA is having the awareness that you are under pressure to win. Yeah. Can I say it like that? Is this the best way of describing what Juve DNA is? Being surrounded every day with the pressure to win. But when I'm saying win, it's not only on the field. It's in every aspect where you should try to win. And not being satisfied if you don't win. Look, a few days ago, I didn't even spoke about it. I tell you, maybe this is also something Juve DNA that I did without even saying it or doing it. A few days ago, I celebrated 5 years of being under contract with Juve as a partner. 5 years. 6 contracts, because the first year was a half a season, because we started in February. So 6 months, and then 5 renewals in the meanwhile. So I celebrated 5 years since the first time that I signed a contract as a partner, because I'm not an employee of Juve, important, partner of Juve. I didn't mention it anywhere. I didn't make a post about it. I didn't speak about it here on the channel. For what reason? Not because I'm ashamed of whatever, because I did it every year, but because between Inter, Galatasaray, Como, I don't feel that it's the right moment to celebrate something, to share with Juventini of the world. Look at that, how happy I am, how proud I am. Our team is doing bad. And you need to share the pain of Juventini and not thinking about yourself and not being there. Look at great, how fantastic, beautiful achievement. Maybe I will do it in a few days, in a few years when it will be a bit over, but I think this is something Juve DNA, understanding the reality of your acts, of what you are doing. So this is something I think Juve DNA. Did I, except of my personal example, did I answer well? What is Juve DNA is being aware of the pressure that is there every single day, that you need to do everything that you have in your hands to win. This is Juve DNA for me, on and off the field. People in the offices, people that are taking care of driving the bus of Juve, people that are working in the creator lab. I saw some people that are speaking about Italian football saying creator lab is the number one problem of Juve, because how can you have a creator lab in a moment like that, etc., etc., without taking into account everything that I explained about revenues, financial fair play, etc., etc., and not understanding, never having worked or being in contact with people from Creator Lab that are absolutely not involved in any sporting decision. But anyway, that's another story. If we go back to, I just look, pay attention, Telegram group. So if we go back together, thank you, Saraz, for the quick researches. Since 2022, after Juve that won 2-0 against Inter, in 2022 we were able to win Verona, Lazio, and beating Arsenal. That was a friendly, I remember with a... I remember that game really well. That was with our young team. It was during the World Cup. So that, I don't want to count that game. But I remember it really well. I think we did a watch along about that game. 4 April, after drawing 1-1 in Coppa Italia against Inter, we lose against Lazio, we win against Sporting 1-0, and we lose against Sassuolo 1-0. So you see, here, after 1-1 against Inter, you lose 2 games and you win 1 in between. Season 22-23, after losing against Inter, we draw Bologna, we win Lecce, we win Atalanta. After 0-1 Inter Juve, we win Verona 1-0, we draw Inter in Coppa Italia 1-1. Season 23-24, after Inter 1-0, we lose against Udinese, we draw against Verona, we win against Frosinone. After Inter 1-1, win Monza, win Napoli, draw Genoa. We are getting closer. Last year, we win 1-0 against Inter, we lose against PSV 3-1, we win against Cagliari, and we lose against Empoli, do you remember, in that Coppa Italia. In October 24, after the 4-4 against Inter, we drew against Parma, we win against Udinese, and we draw against Lille. And this year, after beating Inter 3-2, we lose against Galatasaray, we lose against Como. Now let's see what will happen against Galatasaray. And after winning 4-3 against Inter, we draw Dortmund, we draw Verona, we draw Atalanta. And we are there. It's more or less what I told you. After Inter, you have no fuel anymore. Thank you, Masood. Thank you. I will be able to buy a new cup of tea. I need again my tea because my tea orange is gone. I need a new orange tea. Juventino 19, grazie my friend, from Sweden. I wish I could see a visual red line with people that has Juve in their soul, like Agnelli, Del Piero, Platini, Conte, Allegri. Today I can't. But yeah, 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 you're right. Yeah, you're right. Even if, even if Chiellini is there, guys, because we know that Chiellini is there, and what he did in the last few days has been extremely Juventus. What he did in the last few months has been extremely Juventus. For example, insisting in bringing Spalletti in because he was not the favorite choice in the beginning, because there were some doubts, because of a lot of things, insisting in bringing Ottolini. We will see if he's good or not, but someone that worked at Juve in the past, someone that he knew, someone that is Italian, that knows the Italian football, speaking in front of microphones to defend Juve. I believe that what Chiellini did recently has Juventinità inside. Comoli has no Juventinità, like Modesto. I agree. Agnelli. You know my thoughts about Agnelli, yeah? My favorite president that made mistakes at the end because he was looking at saving football more than saving Juve, or at least saving Juve thanks to the fact that he was saving football. And he has been the scapegoat and not caring anymore. I mean, it's not true not caring, but actually not taking care of the day-to-day life of Juve, letting people that he trusted managing it without double checks. Because he was looking at the bigger picture. And if you are succeeding, you're a hero. If you're failing, you're at zero. But nobody can put in doubt the Juventinità of Agnelli, like nobody can put in doubt the Juventinità of Del Piero, like nobody can put in doubt the Juventinità of Platini. I would love more Platini than Del Piero at Juve. Because Platini has a huge big experience, because Platini would be not only respected, but will also be feared by opponents. Del Piero, with all the respect that I have for Il Capitano, like people are calling him in the chat, which he is, and nobody will take that spot from him, is not someone that is today with the status of being feared. He is someone that will be appreciated, will be respected, will be listened to, but not be feared at all. Because he doesn't have that experience. So, while Platini has it's a big job, huh? And speaking about president, then if you want Del Piero in a minor role at Juve, I would love to, but he doesn't want. He would love to come and having a bigger role, also a decisive role, which I totally understand, because being there just to be there makes totally no sense. But I highly doubt that this is something that Del Piero can do today and that we need today. I really believe, because Chiellini is the same, and you saw how Marotta belittled him in his last communications. Do you remember? He was one of my players. I know him. He's a young manager that will learn. Del Piero will be exactly the same, a young manager, inexperienced president or whatever. While if you bring me a Platini, I can tell you that Giuseppe Marotta will think twice before speaking. So Platini is, to me, a must. Of Juventinità, of experience, of intelligence. It's one that was having dinner with Gianni Agnelli, with Umberto Agnelli. So, yeah. Mohamed, thank you. The $1 million question. Attention, because I will be rich. Who has that DNA today? And who will transmit it to the kids? Did we lose the path? It's not, I will be rich immediately, Mohammed, but pay attention, because then I will tell you that the next donation will be a $1 million donation. I don't even know if it's possible to do here. So pay attention what you're saying, Mohammed. But it's super easy. When you're changing management every 6 months, that DNA is lost, is gone. Today, the captain of Juve, with all the respect, with all his Juventinità, because he's someone that really cares about Juve and would love to succeed with Juve, is Locatelli, that never won anything. But that would be for the 25 players that we have. Spalletti is an experienced coach. But he doesn't have that Juventinità yet today. And I tell you that maybe he's even the closest one to having that Juventinità. Because he understood where he entered, because a lot of time he's entering really well, because he watched Juve and observed Juve from a distance, from outside of the world, where he knows the old Juve really well. And this is something that he has really in mind, which the new generations, they do not have. A lot of new generation, young creators, young people, young fans, they have that winning 9 years in a row Scudetto. I was reading some people, when Juve is going bad, when Juve is doing bad, I see a lot of young Juventini that are sending me. When I know that the season is over? When my DMs are full of starting 11, 26, 27. When I start receiving these DMs, I say, mamma mia, è finita la stagione. The season is over. Mamma mia. I received some totally crazy guys, totally no sense. I don't even want to share them because out of respect. But when I start receiving them, I said, c'est fini, it's over, basta, arrivederci Juve of the actual season. But a lot of people are really into that. Juve is the one of 9 seasons in a row. I'm not lying. I am not lying if I tell you that some non-Juve fans, they were saying, but Juve should go back to their old logo with the old badge and the Italian flag. They should go back to that old logo and the Italian flag like they had in the past. Because I promise you, people from the outside, they have seen Juve from where they were when they grew up and started to watch Juve with always the Italian Scudetto. They don't know that it's in Italy a tradition that it moves from club to club when you're winning. For them, it's in their head that Juve has a badge of Juve. They have Adidas and they have the Italian flag. They believe it's part of it. So it's crazy, but it's true. So some people are totally out of reality, and Spalletti knows what it is: winning Juve, a Juve in difficulty, a rebirth Juve. He knows that. Chiellini has that Juve DNA because Chiellini is one that went down in second division with Juve and went up and saw how difficult it was. He has seen the media. He was there, if I'm not wrong, with a -15, or am I wrong? he was already gone to LA. I don't remember that. But he knows what it is, injustice. He knows what it is to win with Juve, to lose with Juve. So I would say Chiellini and Spalletti. And it's not a coincidence that Chiellini is really pushing for Spalletti. You understand? These two, Spalletti, Chiellini, at today. If you are speaking about players, none of them. None. At today. You know, probably who is one of the closest ones with Juventinita? And now I open a debate before speaking with Thomas. If I need to say one player, Kenan Yildiz. Kenan Yildiz is probably the closest thing to Juve DNA that I have that we have in our team. Yeah, that's it. Thomas, that is adding up, and thank you for 52 months. Thank you, really appreciate it. You are doing, guys, not only Thomas, also Thomas. You are doing a lot. You are really doing a lot. I'm not enough thankful, or I don't say enough thank you to you. Thank you. Really, 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 really thank you. Look at that. Look at what a beautiful community we have. Look at what a beautiful community we have. I'm proud. I'm really, really proud. I hope that you see also the efforts, and also with the new year, with 2026, in working with the Ring Giants, to have other people than Beppe speaking, so that you have other opinions. The collaboration that we are doing now every week with Haj, it's also something important for me, to have more people. I hope you really appreciate them. So we had also Trezeguet, Steiner on the channel. When things are going well, you can do much more things. When things are going bad, it's more difficult. But yeah, I really try to do even more to say thank you. But I should say more thank you. Do fans at the stadium have the DNA? We need them. It's like in everything. Some people yes, some people no. Some people yes, some people no. A lot of people don't, unfortunately. Some people yes. Do we need the fans? Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. Yeah. When I told you about Roma intro anthem, which I think is wonderful, but when I saw Sevilla, Benfica in their stadium, Galatasaray, 12th man, ragazzi. If not 12th, then 13th man. Chapeau. Chapeau. So, do we have the Juve DNA in our fans? Sometimes let me say that sometimes I would love to see it even more. Can I say it like that without shocking people? If you're asking yourself why I'm looking down and what am I doing, it's because today I'm so thoughtful that actually while I'm speaking, I'm doing these kind of drawings, you see, with multiple colors. Lorenzo, Grazie Beppe, Forza Juve, Forza Lorenzo, e grazie Lorenzo, 16 months together with us. Grandissimo Lorenzo. Rob Lewandowski, that is from Norway, telling us, Beppe, give us a top 5. Vlahovic, Conceição, Gatti, Cabal and Kelly. You know that he knows that I hate these games because I'm always in difficulty. But I don't know, because I don't even know what is top 5. What are we? Is it the one that I like, or the one that, in terms of performances, or the what they delivered at Juve? I have no idea. If I go with just the feeling, I would go with Cabal last. I will, maybe history of Juve. Cabal last for what he showed, because he didn't show anything. He has been injured for more than a year. Cabal last. Conceição fourth. I would put Kelly third, Gatti second, and Vlahovic first in terms of what they gave to Juve. That's how I ranked them, and this is not my favorite ranking of who I prefer or not, or because it's difficult to put, for example, this season I will tell you Kelly higher than Gatti. And Gatti is not one of my favorite, and Vlahovic is not one of my favorite players. But I think that's how I would put them. Yeah. But it's really difficult. Ideally, if you tell me, Beppe, keep one, that's easier for me to answer. Keep one. Without doubt, I choose Kelly. Without doubt. If you tell me, Beppe, one out, then it's difficult for me. One out, it's difficult for me. I agree with Alessio when he's saying the anger of Vlahovic cannot be mistaken with Grinta. I think it's one of the best quotes that I've read tonight. Super Giaccarini, Conceição. I'm sure Beppe agree. Yeah. I was looking back because I had the shirt signed also by Giaccarini. I met him, so I spoke with him. I interviewed him also on a podium, and I have spent I think 2 hours in the car with him. So yeah. Without doubt. Gatti hair transplant was his biggest success this season. I will pass that one. I will not answer now, because sometimes there are backstage story that you don't know. One day, keep following the channel. One day, I will tell you some backstage stories. You will. I don't know if you will cry or if you will laugh. Not today. Because if I tell you some backstage stories, guys, about some players, or we close the channel here. We close everything. So not today. But one day, I promise you that one day I will be able to tell you some backstage stories about some players. That again, I don't know if you will cry or you will laugh. Top 5 wingers: Costa, Douglas, Pepe, Giaccarini, Bernardeschi, or Chiesa. It's a pity because he's really a guy that loves Juve and really wanted to do really well, but Bernardeschi 5th, Chiesa 4th, Giaccarini 3rd, Pepe 2nd, Douglas Costa 1st. Thank you for the donation, Rob. At the moment, I have 3 backstage stories noted down that you need to tell. But there are much more. There are much more than three. I don't know which one I need to explain, but there are a lot. There are a lot of backstage. But you know that I have one regret. I didn't think about it, but I wanted to have like a notebook where I was writing all these stories, because I'm sure that the day that I will be able to tell them, I will forget them. So I should write them down. Like when Fabrizio Romano was DMing me for for Jagrova and these kind of stories, or some players that I saw on tour, and yeah, I should have write them. Maybe one day I will start with that. You remember that was funny? The Here We Go. That was a beautiful one. Yeah, but do you think we will ever go back in winning in Europe? It's 30 years that I'm waiting. Forza Juve. 30 years that I'm waiting. Beppe, do you think we can turn around eventually? Or do you think this trend of our club will continue for some time? I have been extremely honest with that. I thought that we would have been back faster. Of course, I was not expecting the Plusvalenza gate and the threads of UEFA with the Super League. These is out of my control because they have a huge impact on the state of Juve now. I don't feel today to promise any time to Juventini, sorry. You know, if we were comfortably in top 4 this season, I would have tell you, yeah, we are there. But today, I don't feel the strength. I don't want to disappoint Juventini. Oh, I want to keep it short, so I want to close in 2, 3, 5 minutes. Are there questions that I really, really, really need to answer before closing? This one, for example, from Rob. More I tell him that I hate these top 5, more top 5 he's putting me. I have my my number 1 without any hesitation. Okay, so 5 Pinsoglio, 4 Manninger, 3 Perin, 2 Storari, 1 Abbiati. Yeah, Abbiati has been great in that year of Juve. On loan from Milan, has been huge and great. I will always be thankful for what he did to Juve, where Buffon broke the back. But this is supporting a club, Alex. This is supporting a club. You don't know. Even if you choose to support a winning club, a massive club, a big club, and you say, at least I'm safe, you don't know how things will turn. So tell the truth, please. What is the question? I believe you can say a lot of things to me. You can tell me that I don't understand football, that I'm not a great content. You can say whatever you want. But one thing that you cannot tell me is that I'm not saying the truth. I say my truth. Then if people like it or not, I don't know. What is the question? What exactly made you tell that we were... is that the question? I really don't understand that I need to explain this, Eldar. If you look at the bio that I have, the description of the channel, or how I behaved, you will see that it's not written journalist. It's not written expert. It's not written insider. It's not written I know better than all the people. And it's also not written I have the crystal ball. It's I'm a fan. And what are fans doing? They are dreaming. And what are people that are dreaming doing? Sometimes they are saying stupid things that makes totally no sense. Because if you don't dream in life, you get nowhere, no? And of course, saying Juventus will win the Champions League is funny in a moment where nobody believes in it, where it's impossible because you are not at the level. But where did it come from? It come from a moment where you have never beaten Benfica in your life. And I said, if you beat Benfica, you never know. Benfica that is cursed like Juve. Because you know that Benfica, when they won, they have been cursed. They never won again the Champions League. They are the record holders of losing finals after Juve. So you say, well, you beat them and maybe the curse is over. Then you are looking into it and you say, oh, ragazzi, if we beat Benfica for real, we can do it. Because every time that we played Dortmund in Champions League, you arrive into the final. Every time that you play Monaco, you arrive into the final. Serie A is already over. In Champions League, if you are looking a bit, Real Madrid is having strong, but they are having some difficulties. Liverpool is difficulty. Manchester City stronger, but they are still having a bit, or they were having difficulties. Now they are back on track a bit. So who is really Arsenal? But Arsenal, they are bottling a lot of time what they are doing at the end. So when you are calculating, you say, bah, you never know. It's easier, it's easier to win the Champions League with a bit of luck than Serie A this year. And also because you saw Dortmund without possibility arriving into the final, losing it, but they arrived into the final. Champions League, sometimes with a bit of luck, it's not the best one that arrived into the final. It's the moment how you arrive there. And I said, Spalletti has a more European football. The team is enthusiastic. You never know. That's a bit the path of going to somewhere, knowing really well that it's something impossible. A last one. Krasic, Sissoko, Diego, Poulsen or Mellberg? Poulsen, 4. 3, Diego. No, sorry. Poulsen, 5. 3, Diego. Poulsen, 5. 4, Diego. Krasic, 3. Mellberg, 2. Sissoko, 1. Yeah. And now we close. I promised myself to not go over 2 hours. It's 1 hour 45. People can watch it in replay if they want. Ragazzi miei, if you enjoy Juve, if you enjoy these kinds of random lives where we speak one-to-one with Juventini, put a maximum of like. Don't forget to subscribe, and we see each other tomorrow for a video because we don't give up. It will be the week when we enter Juve Galatasaray. Grazie, forza, Juve. Ciao.